Welcome, my fellow connoisseurs of the unexpected, the bizarre, and the utterly delightfully scandalous. Today, we're pulling back the velvet curtains of Hollywood to reveal a story that is as juicy as it is surprising. It's a tale that proves that sometimes the role you get isn't the role you audition for, and that the universe has a way of knowing exactly where you belong. We are diving deep into the world of The Hunting Wives, the sensational Netflix series that has everyone talking, and the incredible journey of one of its most unhinged and unforgettable characters, Jill, played to perfection by the phenomenal Katie Lowes. Now, before we get to the shocking revelations, let's set the scene. The Hunting Wives is the kind of show that grabs you by the collar and doesn't let go. It's based on a hugely popular novel by May Cobb, and the TV show perfectly captures that addictive, dark, and utterly compelling vibe. We're talking about a story that follows Brittany Snow's character, Sophie, as she relocates from the bustling, cosmopolitan streets of Boston to a sleepy, yet sinister, East Texas town. It's a place where social hierarchy is everything, where the women are impeccably dressed, their cocktails are perfectly mixed, and their secrets are deadly. Sophie finds herself drawn into the orbit of a charismatic and powerful socialite, Margot, played with a chilling grace by Malin Kerman, and from there, she falls down a rabbit hole of obsession, seduction, and ultimately, murder. It's a masterclass in psychological tension, a show that makes you question everything and everyone, and it's a huge reason why we're all so obsessed with it. But today, we're not just talking about the show's premise. We're talking about one of its standout performances, the one that truly stole the show and left us all on the edge of our seats. That is, of course, Jill, the character who is as messy as she is loyal, as unhinged as she is devoted, and the woman who brought her to life, Katie Lowes, has a story that proves that sometimes, in Hollywood, destiny is just as important as talent. It's a testament to the incredible synergy between an actor and a role, that it's nearly impossible to imagine anyone but Katie Lowes playing Jill. Her portrayal is so perfect, so manic, so wonderfully off the rails, that it feels like the part was written for her and her alone. But as Lowes herself revealed in an exclusive interview with Us Weekly, that wasn't the original plan. In a twist that sounds straight out of a Hollywood script, she originally auditioned for an entirely different role. She didn't audition for Jill. She went in for Collie. Let's just take a moment to process that. The character of Collie, for those of you who have seen the show, is played with a cool, understated intensity by the brilliant Jaime Ray Newman. She's part of the core clique, a woman who holds her cards close to her chest, who possesses a quiet power that is both alluring and intimidating. She's a different kind of unhinged, a more calculated, slow-burn kind of crazy. So, to hear that the very same actress who embodied the explosive, fast-talking, emotionally volatile Jill had originally tried out for the role of Collie is just mind-blowing. In her own words, Lowes said, "I originally auditioned for Collie," and in a moment of pure humility and genuine praise for her fellow actress, she added, "I was very proud of that audition tape, but now that you see Jaime Ray Newman in that role, it's like, why did I even bother?" This is a rare thing to hear in Hollywood, an actor in a moment of candid honesty, admitting that another actor was simply the perfect fit, and that their own attempt, no matter how good it was, pales in comparison. It's a moment that speaks volumes about the respect and admiration that exists behind the scenes, and it sets the stage for a story of creative serendipity. Lowes' interest in Collie, however, was the very thing that paved the way for her to become Jill. It was a classic Hollywood pivot moment. She got a call, a note from the casting team that said, "Hey, can you make another audition tape and go in for Jill?" And this is where the magic really happened. Katie Lowes had an aha moment. She told Us Weekly, "I said, I knew when I read it that I would love to play a Collie, but I'm a Jill." She had a moment of self-awareness that is truly incredible. She saw the role. She felt the character in her bones, and she knew, instinctively, that this was her destiny. "I knew when I read it that I was a Jill," she quipped. It's the kind of line that makes you believe in fate. She saw the character of Jill in all her messy, chaotic glory, and she saw herself. And thank goodness she did, because we couldn't imagine anyone else in the role. This story of casting is so much bigger than just one actor getting a part. It's about the creative process. It's about the casting directors and the show creators, who have the vision to see something in an actor that the actor themselves might not even see at first. It's about Rebecca Cutter, the show's creator, who had a clear vision for her characters and was willing to take a chance on an actor who was meant for a different role. Lowes herself acknowledged this, saying, "Thank God Rebecca picked me." And there's a deeper reason for that gratitude. This wasn't just any old audition. This was coming off a time of unprecedented difficulty in the entertainment industry. You have to remember the context here. The SAG-AFTRA strike, which had put a full stop on Hollywood productions, had just ended. Actors, writers, and crew members had been out of work for months for many. It was a time of immense financial strain and professional uncertainty. Lowe's herself spoke about this, saying, "I'm sure a lot of actresses went out for these roles and really wanted to get it, not only because it was great, but because we hadn't worked amid the SAG-AFTRA strike and because people needed to get back to work vibe." Landing a role, any role, after such a long period of unemployment was a monumental relief. And landing a role as amazing and complex as Jill, that was a dream come true. It makes her gratitude, her appreciation for the opportunity, feel so much more genuine and earned. This wasn't just a job, it was a lifeline, a return to the work she loves, and a chance to shine on a huge platform like Netflix. Now, let's talk about the book. The Hunting Wives novel has a massive fan base, and when a show based on a beloved book premieres, there's always a certain amount of anxiety. Will the show be faithful to the source material? Will they change things? And in the case of The Hunting Wives, the creative team made a huge, game-changing decision. They completely changed the identity of the murderer. In the book, Jill is the killer. In the show, she is not. And Lowe's, in a moment of pure, comedic, actorly honesty, told us weekly that she knew this from the very beginning. She knew her character, Jill, was not the murderer. In fact, she knew the ultimate fate of her character from the get-go. "I knew when I auditioned that Jill was going to die, so I really leaned into it," she said. And this is a fascinating perspective. A lot of actors might be bummed to find out their character gets killed off, especially in the first season of a potential hit show. But Katie Lowe's reaction was pure artistic excitement. "I've gotten to die a bunch of times, so I just was psyched. I was like, I go big or go home. I get to have one amazing season of Jill being as unhinged as I could do it, and I loved it." This is the kind of attitude that makes for a truly memorable performance, knowing that her character was on a one-way trip to a tragic end gave her the freedom to lean into every single messy, over-the-top moment. There were no long-term character arcs to worry about. There was no need to save Jill for a potential second season. Her entire purpose was to be as wild, as intense, as captivating as possible, and then to make a spectacular exit, and she did just that. Her death scene was shocking, tragic, and an absolute standout moment of the series. The audience, especially those who had read the book, was completely blindsided. The creative team's decision to change the murderer and kill off Jill was a bold one, and it paid off beautifully. It set the stage for a different kind of mystery, and it gave Katie Lowe's the chance to deliver a performance that will be talked about for a long time. Lowe's also shared a fascinating tidbit about her process. She is, as many of us are, a fan of May Cobb's writing. She started reading the book to prepare for her role, but she quickly had to stop. "I was starting to get confused over the Jill that existed in the book and the Jill that Rebecca Cutter was putting on the show," she noted. "I had to put the book down and just really focus on this story and the job that I was doing with this version of Jill." This is a crucial point for any actor adapting a role from a book. The character on the page is often very different from the character on screen. A book allows for an internal monologue, for a deeper look into a character's thoughts and motivations. A television show relies on what's visible, what's said, and what's acted out. The two are separate artistic entities. Lowe's, with her years of experience, knew that she had to put the book away and focus on the script, on Rebecca Cutter's vision for Jill. Knowing that Margot was now going to be the killer and Jill was going to die, this shows a true understanding of her craft and her role in the larger creative process. She wasn't just acting a part. She was helping to build a new story, a new mythology for the Hunting Wives universe. Now, as we all know, Netflix loves to leave us wanting him or, and the ending of The Hunting Wives certainly sets things up for a thrilling second season. But what about our beloved, unhinged Jill? Is there any way she could ever return? Lowe's herself, in a light-hearted moment, loved the idea of a potential comeback, even if it's not in the traditional sense. She joked about how the show could find a way to bring her back. "I hope Jill is a fan favorite," she said. "I get a lot of attention online, and I feel like this show is totally one of those that could have flashbacks. Hopefully, flashbacks are, of course, a classic TV trope for bringing back beloved, deceased characters. But she didn't stop there. She also suggested a twin or maybe a younger sister who has to come and help raise Jill's son because he's so emotionally distraught from the death of his mother. It's a hilarious and surprisingly poignant idea that shows just how much she loved playing the character and how much she understands the world of the show. This whole story, from the initial audition to the final death scene, is a perfect microcosm of what makes Hollywood so fascinating. It's a place where a talented actor can audition for one role, get cast in another, and deliver a performance so perfect that it's impossible to imagine anyone else in the part. It's a place where creative teams can make bold, controversial decisions like changing the identity of a killer and have it pay off spectacularly. It's a place where a character's death isn't just an end, but a chance for an actor to go big or go home. And it's a place where even a character who is dead and buried can still, in the minds of the fans and the actor who played her, find a way to come back. Katie Lowe's journey with The Hunting Wives is a tale of creative destiny, of bold artistic choices, and of the pure, unadulterated joy of an actor finding her perfect role. It's a story that reminds us that sometimes the best things in life and in Hollywood are the ones you didn't even know you were looking for. And on that note, we have to wrap things up for today. Thank you for tuning in and joining us on this wild ride behind the scenes. We'll be back next time with more incredible stories, more jaw-dropping revelations, and a whole lot more gossip. Until then, stay curious, stay scandalous, and keep those eyes and ears peeled for the next big piece of Hollywood news. Goodbye for now.